You try this without God, you tripping. You tripping. See, for every time you have a plan, an aspiration, or a goal, this thing comes along called life. It happens to everybody. You're going to lose somebody you care about one day. Somebody going to close the plant you thought was going to stay open so you could retire. That's a false hope to think you're going to have a wonderfully carefree life.
I'm wondering this morning if there's anybody here that life has handed you something that you didn't expect. The one thing I can tell you for sure is that nothing is for sure. Life will often disrupt what you expected. That just as soon as you have it down in a nice, neat little box of how you think it's going to go, it will never be what you expected it to be. So you got to get used to being a little disappointed. You got to get used to being a little bit shocked. You got to get used to walking into situations and being flexible and adjustable. Because if you are not flexible, you cannot survive.
Sometimes we look at pieces in our lives that don't make sense. The key is what we do in our times of pain. Pain will change us. Every painful time, even though you don't like it, it's developing something in you that can only be developed in the tough times. Eventually, that will pass. You'll get through it, but you will be different in those tough times.
Many of you know that God will make things uncomfortable to get you out of your comfort zone, to put you in a place of purpose and destiny, to rise to the height of your calling and soar above your adversities and fly like the eagle you were created to be.
God never said that we would understand everything that happens along the way, but He did promise that it would all work out for our good. The key is what we do in our times of pain. If you go through a divorce, a legal battle, a friend betrays you, eventually that will pass. You'll get through it, but you will be different. Now, how the pain changes you is up to you. You can come out bitter, or you can come out better. You can come out with a chip on your shoulder blaming God, or you can come out stronger with a greater confidence in God. You can come out defeated, giving up on your dreams, or you can come out with a new passion, a new fire, excited about the new opportunities in front of you. All of us experience pain. My challenge, don't just go through it, grow through it. That difficulty is an opportunity to get stronger, to develop character, to gain new confidence. Anybody can give up. Anybody can let it overwhelm you. But you know what that's doing? Wasting your pain. That pain is not there to stop you. It's there to prepare you, to increase you, to develop you.
God is a merciful God. He didn't bring you this far to leave you. He didn't set you up to fail. You're tripping, man. Even if you're wrong, He forgives us. Just keep moving, man. It ain't nothing. Now, look, I've had some painful moments in this like you. But hey, I look for the bright side, man. I expect something good to happen.
See, whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. Not to stay, just to pass. It's just going through. The biggest challenge is to know what's happening. This is a part of this thing we call life. This too shall pass. And maintaining perspective, putting it in perspective. See, a lot of us, because of our limited vision of ourselves, a lot of us who begin to focus on problems and enable them to overwhelm us, we begin to think that we have no options. We begin to believe that there's no way out. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, they're just temporary inconveniences.
You're going to go through things that are not fair. It's easy to live discouraged, but if you'll just stay in faith and keep moving forward, in time, God will make all things beautiful. Nothing beautiful about going through a loss or dealing with an illness. Just give it some time. You don't have to live worried. God is working behind the scenes. What you thought was going to limit you the rest of your life, the bad break, the mistake you made, that is not how your story ends. Beauty is coming. It's going to turn out better than you've imagined. God will make all things beautiful. Not just the good breaks, not just the promotions, that's obvious. But He'll make the disappointments, the mistakes. That's how awesome our God is. Don't give up on your dreams. Bitter over the person that walked away or upset over the contract that should have been yours. Let it go. God saw what happened. He said He would pay you back double for the wrongs. He just needs some time. Now, while you're waiting, stay in faith. When is it ever going to turn around? This is not fair. Pass the test. Keep going to work with a good attitude. At the right time, you're going to see Him show out in your life in such a way that you don't think about what you've lost. You're so fulfilled, you don't dwell on the negative things in your past. You keep honoring God, and He's going to make up for what you didn't get. He's going to have the right people come to you to push you into your purpose. He knows who left you out. He knows the times you didn't think you could go on. He's going to do something awesome in your life. Perhaps you went through a breakup. You're hurting. You're lonely. God is not finished. He's not going to leave you depressed. He has someone amazing coming where you're going to be happier and more fulfilled than you've ever been. Don't judge the rest of your life by one difficult season. Thoughts will tell you it's never going to change. Just accept it. Don't believe those lies. God promised He will make all things beautiful. Now here's the key. Just give it some time. The mistake we make often is we get in a hurry. Voices whisper, if it was going to happen, come on, man, it would have happened by now. Trust the process. All things in its time will be beautiful. If it hasn't happened yet, then it hasn't been the right time. When it's your time to see beauty, promotion, vindication, it will happen. How we wait is important. If we wait upset, God, why did these people do me wrong? That's going to delay the beauty. The right way to wait is in an attitude of faith, knowing that He's working all things for your good, expecting His favor. This difficulty didn't come to stay, it came to pass. God being for me is more than the world being against me. God knows how to make all things beautiful if you'll just give Him the time. You don't understand, it wasn't fair, just keep moving forward. God is not going to waste anything you went through. You're about to come out to new levels, see favor that you've never seen. Quit believing those lies that you've had too many bad breaks. You have a good reason to live sour. Look at what you've been through. That was all setting you up for something you've never imagined. Things that were meant to harm you, struggles that have tried to discourage you, bad breaks that should have limited your life. This is a new day. You're about to see vindication, new opportunities. The tide is turning in your favor. What was meant for your harm, God is turning to your advantage. That there's a time for weeping, a time for loss, but that is not the end of the story. God also said He will make all things beautiful in its time. There's a time for restoration, a time for deliverance, a time for celebration. Give God the time, He'll make all things beautiful.
And here's what I want to say to you. For those of you that have experienced some hardships, don't give up on your dream.
Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
How much of life do you feel like you control, or how much does life control you? Do you tend to control more of what's going on, or events controlling you? If you focus on what you can't control, if you focus on the past, if you focus on what's missing from your life constantly, that pattern of focus will make you frustrated, overwhelmed, depressed,
It won't even matter if you're, taking antidepressants. If you keep focusing on what you can't control, what's missing from your life, you're going to feel depressed still. You can take as many antidepressants as you want. Focus equals power.
The challenge of life, I have found, is to build a resume that doesn't simply tell a story about what you want to be, but it's a story about who you want to be. It's a resume that doesn't just tell a story about what you want to accomplish, but why. A story that's not just a collection of titles and positions, but a story that's really about your purpose. Because when you inevitably stumble and find yourself stuck in a hole, that is the story that will get you out. What is your true calling? What is your dharma? What is your purpose?
You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path. And that will make all the difference.
Just stand. You keep standing. You keep standing, no matter how rough the sea, you keep standing. And I'm not talking about just water. You keep standing. No matter what, you don't give up. It doesn't matter to me any longer how long I live. What matters to me most is how I live. I ask y'all one question. A question that I was asked all my life by a third-grade dropout. How you living? How you living? Every day ask yourself that question, how you living? Here's what a cook in the dining center would suggest you to live this way. That you would not judge, that you would show up early, that you'd be kind, that you'd make sure that that servant's towel is huge and used, that if you're going to do something, you do it the right way. That cook would tell you this, that it's never wrong to do the right thing, that how you do anything is how you do everything. And in that way, you will grow your influence to make an impact. In that way, you will honor all those who have gone before you, who have invested in you. Look in those unlikeliest places for wisdom. Enhance your life every day by seeking that wisdom and asking yourself every night, how am I living?
I don't know how much stayed in, but he ate them, right? But the point being, anything can be done if you break it down small enough. Make sense? So don't let the bigness of a goal overwhelm you.
Complaining, crying, whining, griping. A Bible word called murmuring. See, that'll ace your future. Spend 5 minutes complaining and you have wasted 5. And you may have begun what's known as economic cancer of the bone. Surely they will soon haul you off into a financial desert and there let you choke on the dust of your own regret.
And not only is it important for you to know it's possible for you to choose your future, but it's necessary that you work on yourself, that you develop yourself. It's necessary that you get the energy drainers out of your life, people who don't want anything, people who are not striving, people who are not challenging themselves, people who aren't growing, people who have stopped dreaming. It's necessary that you align yourself with people and attract people into your business who are hungry, people who are unstoppable and unreasonable, people who are refusing to leave life just as it is and who want more. My mother used to say, birds of a feather flock together. If you run around with losers, you will end up a loser. It's necessary that you get the losers out of your life if you want to live your dream.
One person can change the world by giving people hope. So if you want to change the world, start each day with a task completed. Find someone to help you through life. Respect everyone. Know that life is not fair and that you will fail often. But if you take some risks, step up when the times are the toughest, face down the bullies, lift up the downtrodden, and never, ever give up. If you do these things, the next generation and the generations that follow will live in a world far better than the one we have today. And what started here will indeed have changed the world for the better.
Let's look at this idea of specificity for a minute. Like a winter home in Hawaii. Very nice. But if I say, I will own a 2-bedroom beachfront villa on the west coast of Maui, Hawaii by June 1st, 2003, does that sound a little more clear? Yeah. And until you get specific like that, the creative part of your brain won't jump in and decide how to help you get there. And that's why a lot of people never get their dreams, because they don't make them specific enough. You got to get real nitty-gritty. Break it down. How much by when? I want a better relationship with my husband. Well, what does that mean? But if I say I want to spend an hour a week sitting opposite my husband talking about real things that matter, no TV on, eye-to-eye communication, now that we can measure. Did you do it for an hour? Want to have more fun? What does that mean? But what if I say I'm going to listen to comedy albums twice a week for a minimum of an hour? You're probably going to have more fun. So make it specific, make it real. Some people say, you know, I want our business to increase. Well, how much by when? I want the reading scores to go up in a school. How much by when? Until you have that, you're not going to make progress. And so many people's dreams never get completed because they're not clear about the specific number of how much by when. I told you earlier in the program, we said we're going to sell 1.5 million books in 1.5 years, and that directed our behavior. Recently, we just said we're going to sell 1 million books in one day. We had 101 bookstores involved in a book signing. We're going to try to be in the Guinness Book of World Record for the largest book signing ever done. Now, I don't think we sold 1 million books. Maybe we sold a couple 100,000. But by holding that question and trying to figure out how to do it, it moved us toward that goal. Now, maybe it'll take us 2 years to figure out how to sell 1 million books in one day, but it gets the thinking to expand out into that arena. Is this making sense? Okay, so you want to have those goals. Now, the other thing you want to do is break your goals down. Many of you have big goals. End hunger in the world. That's a pretty big goal. You know, have world peace. Achieve a certain level of spiritual oneness with God or life. Big goals. When you first look at it, it's kind of overwhelming. But what if we were to break that down into little steps? It says, okay, I want to go to college and get a PhD. Gosh, I'm only a high school student. But the next step would be finish the math class, get an A in this. Write for a brochure from a college, get a catalog. Pick 1 or 5 colleges that I want to apply to. You know, just keep breaking it down to little steps and then figure out how to get all those steps done and put a date by each step and then start doing the plan. Someone said if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Does that make sense? Yeah, absolutely. One of my friends said, success by the yard is hard, by the inch it's a cinch. So we just break it down into small pieces. I was reading the Guinness Book of World Records because we were thinking about being in there, and this guy set a goal to eat an entire bicycle, tires and all. Now, how do you do that, right? Well, it took him 17 days. But what he did is he kept cutting the bicycle up and then melting it down into little swallowable pieces, and he ate them.
It's really hard to be truly happy when you're not being yourself. And most of us have no clue who we are.
We all have situations that don't look like they're going to work out. We don't see how we can get well, how we can accomplish a dream, how our family will be restored. All the circumstances say it's not going to happen.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again. Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
Right now, are you in fear? Right now. Every moment of your life you're in fear? No. You will overcome that fear. But the hard part is, you gotta take that first step.
I am deeply motivated by fear.
The fear, by the way, is not a conspiracy. That is real. Everybody's like, oh, fear ain't real. Yeah, well, it's easy for you to say you ain't got any this second.
You face your fears, you become the person you want to be.
To create fear, you have to use excessive imagination.
There's a lot of fear, but I understand what the emotion of fear is. It's a subconscious trigger that causes this feeling that I don't like. And it's a go signal for me, not a stop signal for me.
Everybody doesn't win. And the sooner you wake up to that biology is ruthless, man.
then you get a little fear in you. And when you get a little fear in you, you start listening. Because if you're truly afraid, you listen. Let a little fear come in and drive you and motivate you.
My first time I talked, I literally went up and blanked out.
If you're afraid of pull-ups, do pull-ups. If you're in squats, do squats. If you're afraid of public speaking, go speak in public.
Face your fear. It's hard. It's an uphill battle, but I know you can do it. Whatever it is that you want to do right now in your life, but you've been sitting on the fence waiting, doubting yourself because you are letting fear control you, just do it. You ain't going to be nowhere until you start taking the first step. Fear is always going to be there. Give yourself the power, and the more you face your fears, the more powerful you become. Champions are made in these moments.
What are you afraid of? What's holding you back? What's putting you in a position that you feel that you can't go on? Do you have this mindset of thinking that because fear is in your way, that you're supposed to stop moving? Do you believe that fear has more power than you do? Well, let me remind you something about fear. We all have to experience it. You can't run from it, but you can definitely overcome it. If someone tells you that they're not afraid of anything, make no mistake. As long as you are a human being, we are all afraid of something. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's over. That doesn't mean that you have to give in to fear. In fact, fear helps you to build character. It brings something else out of you. Just like an animal, just like something that's trying to run away because it's afraid to die or afraid to get itself in a position that it can't get out of. It will fight to the end. So sometimes fear does do a good thing for you because something else comes out of you. It doesn't mean that you are afraid to a point that you're weak, but it ignites something else about survival, about living, about pushing, about thriving. When you go into a room and you're getting ready to take your test or whatever you may be doing in your lifetime or something that you have never done before in your life, and now you are up against a challenge and you're afraid to face that challenge, don't be ashamed of that fear. But you don't let fear control you. You don't let fear dictate your life. In fact, you tell fear, take a break. I got business to take care of. And then when fear decides to show up again, then you tell it to do something else. But you do not let fear tell you what to do. Let it do what it needs to do, but you do what you have to do. Do not let these things that surround you put you in a position that you feel you can't carry on. Don't be afraid to fail. You may have often heard this from many people from time to time. Failing. I don't like to fail. I never fail. Yes, you do. We all fail at something. And you shouldn't be afraid of it. Many people will tell you that's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you build. There's nothing in this world that is perfect. Everything that exists has some kind of a flaw in it. And whether you're worried about what people think of you because you fail at something, or because you're afraid of what people are going to think about you because you're not good at something, make no mistake that these people that are putting you in a position to think less of yourself, they may have the same circumstances going on in their life with something that you're better at and they're not. That's what makes us unique. So don't let fear control your life. Overcome the fear. Overcome it and understand it that all you got to do is just keep moving. Nothing behind you is going to help you. Everything in front of you is where you need to be. The thing about success that it's limitless. And when you feel that you have reached a level, go a little bit further. When you allow fear to say that you're not worthy or you're not capable of doing something, then you have already given up because you're afraid. There are many different shapes and sizes when it comes to fear. People are afraid of everything that's out here. In certain areas, forms, and fashions, we all fear something. I fear it, you fear it, we all fear something, but that doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't mean that you're worthy less of something. It means that you got work to do. That means you got something to work on. That means you got to work on overcoming this particular fear factor. And you need to push yourself a little bit harder and understanding that you can do it. Don't let fear control your life. Don't let fear tell you what to do. Don't let fear put you in a position that you feel that, hey, I'm done, and you just throw your hands up and you want to quit. Let fear do what it needs to do, and you just do what you gotta do.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
When we allow our dreams to pull us, they unleash a creative force that can overpower everything in our way. To unleash this power, though, your dreams must be well defined. A fuzzy future has little pull power. Well-defined dreams are not fuzzy. Wishes are fuzzy. To really achieve your dreams, to really have your future plans pull you, your dreams must be vivid. If you've ever hiked a 14,000-foot peak in the Rocky Mountains, one thought has surely come to mind. How did the settlers of this country do it? How did they get from the East Coast to the West Coast? By foot. Carrying one day's supply of food and water is hard enough. Can you imagine hauling all of your worldly goods with you? Mile after mile, day after day, month after month? These people had dreams, big ones. They had ambition. They didn't focus on the hardship of getting up the mountain. In their minds, they were already on the other side. Their bodies just hadn't gotten them there yet. Despite all of their pains and struggles, births and deaths along the way, those who made it to the other side had a single vision: to reach the land of continuous sunshine and extraordinary wealth. To start over where anything was possible, where everything was possible. Their dreams were stronger than the obstacles in their way. You've got to be a dreamer. You've got to see the future finished in advance. You've got to see California while you're climbing 14,000-foot peaks. You've got to see the finish line while you're running the race. You've got to hear the cheers when you're in the middle of a monster project. And you've got to be willing to put yourself through the paces of doing the uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable. Because that's how you realize your dreams. Our great country was founded with dreams. They've always been important. Dreams are what caused thousands of people to leave their homes and families and start over in a land where anything was possible. To this day, dreams continue to bring people to our land of opportunity, to a country where you can start with little and end up with a lot. To America. Don't you sometimes wonder why so many immigrants who come to America can build a new life and a fortune while many of the people who were born here are barely surviving? They have a dream, a defined goal, ambition. Aside from the pioneers that crossed the prairies and the mountains to reach their vision of hope and future promises, there are other amazing examples of how ambition has shaped America. Take Ben Franklin, for instance. When most people think of Ben Franklin, they remember the kite and the lightning bolt and the discovery of electricity. What a lot of people may not know is that Ben Franklin was one of the first writers to address self-making. When Franklin started Poor Richard's Almanac in 1732, he used the blank spaces between the crop data and the weather information to insert clever bits of moral and practical advice. I'm sure you've heard the saying, fish and company start to stink in 3 days. Well, that was one of hundreds of Ben Franklin's comments on life. Another was, diligence is the mother of good luck. You know, it's amazing how hard-working, smart-working people have all the luck. We sometimes hear of a brand new musical group, an overnight success. They must have been in the right place at the right time, knew the right people, had a friend to help them out.
Everybody in your life will have a turn-back moment. No matter who you are, you're going to have such a period in your life where it seems like it's not working. You're going to have doubts. You're going to have a lot of trials and tribulations and challenges. And everybody has what's called a turn back moment. You always have a moment in your life where the direction you're going, you will have to make a decision to keep going or you turn back. The sad thing is the average person turns back. But think about this. If you're going somewhere and you turn back, you can never get there. If you wake up every day and go get in your car and say, I'm going to the store, and halfway to the store, you turn around, and then the next day, you go to the store and you turn around, you do realize that you'll never get to the store. So whatever you needed from the store now is even a greater need because you turned back. And every time you turn back, it does not change the need. So what kept me going was, I made turning back, giving up, never an option. And I had really dark moments, man, where I thought I just didn't think I was going to make it. I mean, where I am today, I didn't see it clearly at all. I had a lot of turn back moments. But you know what it was for me, man? Being successful is so hard, but I realized that not being successful was hard too. The difference between not being successful hard and trying to get successful and hard, if you're trying to get successful and it's hard, at least there's some payout. There's a payoff. If you hang in there, there's payoff. When you're not successful, it's hard. It's hard not having money. It's hard never knowing how to come up with your mortgage and your bond and your rent and your let. It's hard not knowing that. How you going to feed your children? How you going to pay your bills? It's hard, ain't it? So if it's hard that way, and it's hard being successful, I might as well deal with how hard it is to be successful, because at least one day that could be a payout. If you just stay in the hard part of life of not being successful, ain't no payoff. There's no result for being poor. It's just mo-po. You just po some mo. There's no payout. Just make the decision that you're not going to be poor anymore. You have the right. Don't matter how you were born. I was born very poor. My father made $5 a day, $5 US a day. We had 5 children.
Stop coming up with excuses. Don't give yourself permission to continue to live a small life. You can't fit a big dream into a small life. Give yourself permission to go for it, to test yourself, to challenge yourself, to live full. I like the saying, always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. The reason you're here is because there's something in you that says, I can do more. This just can't be it. There's something in you. There's a calling on your life. There's something in your heart that caused you to get dressed and spend the money to go to seminar after seminar and listen to message after message and speaker after speaker. Because there's something in you that tells you this is not it for you. You have not peaked here. There's more in you that you are expressing. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what's in store for you if you challenge yourself, if you persist and persevere, if you take ownership for your life. George Bernard Shaw said the people that make it in this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. Create what you want. You have the power in you to do more than you can ever begin to imagine, to control your destiny, to make a difference in our children, to make a difference on the planet, to make an impact. Let us say together, it's me. And let us say together, it's hard. Say it like you know it. Say it's hard. Ladies and gentlemen, it's hard. There are people who have seen their retirements taken away from them by the corporations that they work for. They were within 2 or 3 years of retiring, and they had it taken from them. The #1 entrepreneurs in this country now are senior citizens. The #1 employer, #2, McDonald's and Walmart. And there's nothing wrong with those jobs. I guarantee you those people did not have a plan to end up living their lives at the end of life with those types of jobs. And they didn't have a plan like you have, and while you're investing in yourself, not to.
Here's the greatest essence of life, and that's living well. Weaving a tapestry of life experiences. What constitutes a good life? What is a good life? Because that's the highest essence of life, is to live a good life. Let me give you a pretty good list. Here's number 1, productivity. You won't be happy if you don't produce. That's why the 6-1 was arranged, so that you spend the greater part of your life and your time producing. Producing a working day, produce an idea and make it fly, produce an enterprise and make it grow, produce a relationship and give it life. To produce, to create progress. You won't be happy if you don't produce. Work to do that. There's an ancient script that says, the sleep of a laboring man is sweet. Someone who labors to produce with their hands, who works hard, that sleep is sweet. Not the sleep of a goof-off man, not the sleep of a drifting man, the sleep of a laboring man. Somebody who works, puts in the time and the effort and the work and the labor, whether you labor with your hands or labor with your voice, or whatever you do, physical, spiritual, personal, that labor produces good sleep. So we must produce. But here's the rest of a good life. Next is friendship. The greatest support system in the world probably is friendship. And you've got to nourish your friendships. Don't lose contact. Keep in touch. We all have to work on that. Letting too much time go by between visits and conversation and telephone and letters, personal contact, so that you keep alive this reservoir of goodwill in terms of friendship that can give you support when you really need it. Develop this support system. Good friends, those people who know all about you and still like you, right? Good friends. Next is your culture. America understands this probably better than any other country. The dynamics of culture, especially the dynamics of multiculture. A single culture is dynamic, but when you put together multicultures like America, it can produce the most stunning results. It can produce the most incredible wealth, such as never been known to the world in 6,000 years. The wealth that has been created by multicultures working together, contributing to each other. What one lacks, the other one's got. What one got's, the other one shares.
The state we're in the moment, the state we're in at any moment, powerfully impacts the meaning we associate to something. The state we're in the moment, powerfully impacts the meaning that we associate to something or that we assign to something. So one way to change what things mean to you is just change your darn state. Is that true? I mean, if you're feeling great, do things just kind of bounce off you that normally if you're feeling upset? Would you change the way you look at them probably, change the way you feel about it? You bet. So we need to really still manage our state. And we talked about that a great deal last session. I want to make sure that that's part of your life's work. Because your life's work is really learning how to live in a way where you spend most of your time enjoying yourself, very little time in pain. Most of your time in pleasure, very little pain. And living your life hopefully in a way where not only do you feel good all the time, but the people around you feel good just by being around you. That because they're around you, they feel a lot less pain and a ton of pleasure. See, that's my idea of success. Success is when you've learned to live your life in a way where you experience tons of pleasure every day and almost no pain. And simultaneously, where the way you live also causes the people around you to experience very little pain and tons of pleasure. Then you know you're really successful. Because if you feel good and nobody else does, you're a failure. Now, that doesn't mean you go around and try and make everybody feel good. Some people have an investment in feeling bad because they think feeling bad equals feeling good. Are there people that believe that? Yes or no? Yes. Yeah, because they think if I feel bad, then people will notice me or they'll love me more or they'll help me more or I'll get more attention, which means feeling good. People have weird crap they work inside their head about how to get to feeling good. Some people think I'm going to feel good when I make $1 billion. Some people are like, when I have this, this, and this, when I get married, have these many children, this and this, then I'll feel good. Some people have, well, I'll feel good if I feel bad because then people notice me and make me feel good. Or you could just like choose to feel good. Which one do you think might be a more intelligent approach? Because who's in control there? You are. You don't have to worry about the environment. By the way, when you're feeling good, it tends to make you want to feel even better. It makes you share good feelings with other people, which makes them feel good, which makes them reciprocate usually. Not always, but usually. Kind of nice. So the bottom line is we got to manage our state still. And as a reminder, as far as that's concerned, changing state means change the meaning. And the way you can do it is either by changing your what? Anybody remember from last session? Change your what? Change your what? Change your physiology. Physiology, again, means the way you move, the way you breathe, your facial expressions, your gestures. The way you use your body determines the way you feel. You got to remember that for the rest of your life. If you're not feeling the way you want to feel, first thing you do is just change the way you're moving. Emotion is created by what? Motion. Emotion is created by motion. You have 50 muscles in your face. A slight change in any of these muscles will radically change the way you feel. Remember we did this last time, I think. what I'd like you to do right now, real quick, is create some tension in your body, some tension, then put a big, huge smile on your face while you're doing it and notice how it feels.
I want to talk to you today about you are enough. It's easy to go through life thinking that we're lacking in some area. If we had more talent, then we could do something great. If we had a better personality, if we were more confident, more attractive, then we could reach our dreams. But as long as you're discounting yourself, thinking you're at a disadvantage, it will keep you from rising higher. When God laid out the plan for your life, He carefully studied it. He thought about what you would need and what it would take to get you there. Then He matched you with your world. He gave you the talent you need, the strength, the confidence. You are the right size. You have the right looks. You have the right personality. You come from the right family. You are not lacking. You didn't get shortchanged. You are good enough. You are talented enough. You are smart enough. You are attractive enough. You have been fearfully and wonderfully made. But life will try to push us down. Thoughts will whisper everything that we're not. You're not as talented as your friend. You're not as attractive as your coworker. You're not as smart as your cousin. That's okay. You're not running their race. You don't need what they have. If you needed it, God would have given it to you. If you needed to be taller, you would be taller. If you needed a different personality, you would have one. If you needed to come from another family, that would have happened. God doesn't make mistakes. When He created you, He wasn't having a bad day. He didn't accidentally leave something out. Now you're at a disadvantage. He calls you a masterpiece. You have royal blood flowing through your veins. He's crowned you with His favor. You're not lacking. You didn't get shortchanged. You have everything you need to fulfill your destiny. Now quit comparing your looks, your gifts, your success with somebody else and be you.